Ms. Murray, seconded by Mrs. Duncan, moves. Mrs. Duncan. Ms. Murray, seconded by Mrs. Duncan, moves. Mrs. Duncan in Etobicoke North moves for leave to introduce a bill entitled "An Act to Amend the Canada Shipping Act 2001, Prohibition against the Transportation of Oil by Oil Tankers on Canada's Pacific North Coast." This motion is deemed adopted. The Honourable Member for Vancouver Quadra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to rise today to introduce an act to amend the Shipping Act 2001, which will exclude oil supertankers from the inland waters of Canada's Pacific North Coast, known as Queen Charlotte Sound, Hecate Strait, and Dixon Entrance. As this House well knows, Canada's quality of life is closely connected to the health of our oceans, which are integral to our environmental, social, and economic services and capital. I join the majority of British Columbians who believe that transporting oil by supertankers in certain turbulent and hazardous inland coastal waters poses an unacceptable risk to the marine environment, to the communities and the businesses that depend on that environment, and to all Canadians who share the common heritage of healthy oceans. I'm therefore pleased to introduce this bill, which will legislate the long-term Liberal policy of prohibiting supertanker traffic from the waters around Haida Gwaii in order to protect the Pacific North Coast of Canada from oil spills.
Madame Murray, appuyée par Madame Duncan, propose que ce projet de loi soit mis en lieu une première fois et imprimé. Cette motion est réputée adoptée.
First reading of this bill, première lecture de ce projet de loi.
When shall the bill be read a second time? At the next sitting of the House. This is a